So, Christmas is over. Usually what that means is around this time I start taking down all of my Christmas decorations, but this year I didn't really decorate all that much. I think genuinely the extent that I did was I put up that stocking right there. At first I genuinely didn't really know where to put it because as far as I know, most times stockings go over like fireplaces and I don't have a fireplace. So I came up with the next best thing. I put it over the place where I make fire content. I need you to go away. You were part of an awful joke. Anyways, with Christmas come and gone, the fact that 2017 is quickly coming to a close is on the forefront of my mind right now. And what is another year but another story told? And one of my favorite avenues to tell stories is through music. I mean, really, I love musicals. There's Grease, Hamilton, the Lizzie McGuire movie. In my personal opinion, a lot of stellar music came out this year. And since last year I made a top 6 albums of 2016 list, I thought it'd be kind of fun to sit down and do the top 7 albums of 2017 this year. So I've sat down, I've deliberated thoroughly, and I'm pretty pleased with what I came up with. So the following presentation is my top 7 albums of 2017, in my opinion. Coming in at number 7 is Everybody by Logic. Released May 5th, it is his 3rd studio album, and my personal first sort of dip into the realm of Logic's music. I had not really listened to him before it, but I've since gone back and listened to some older music of his, and I really enjoy it. Probably the most notable song on the entire album is the song that's just, the title is the Suicide Hotline number. Got Alicia Cara and Khalid. It's on the radio all the time, even now. My 2 favorite songs on the album are the title song, Everybody. My second favorite is Black Spider-Man, which has a really fun sort of live Jimmy Kimmel video. If you check that out on YouTube, it's really entertaining. I found it great. Overall, pretty solid album. Looking forward to Logic's next project, and quite possibly going to become one of my favorite rappers, so here's to that. Coming in at number 6 is technically not an album. Its proper term is an EP, but this is my list, and I can do what I want. My pick is Bangers and Ass by Tiny Meat Gang. Released just a bit ago on December 15th, it has already become one of my most streamed sources of music on my Spotify. If you don't know, Tiny Meat Gang is a comedy rap group duo composed of Cody Ko and Noel Miller. You may know either one of them from the Vine days. Cody Ko was one of my favorite Viners, so I followed him on YouTube, and then earlier this year he started making rap songs with his friend Noel, and lo and behold, they came together and made an EP, which I am thoroughly enjoying. My 2 favorite songs on there are IFYB. It's literally just an acronym. I'm sure you can figure out what it is by listening to the song. And I also thoroughly enjoyed Super Zan, which is a single they released previously off the album. I don't know, the entire thing is a great laugh, as well as just the beats go really hard. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, really. I enjoy it thoroughly. Coming in at number 5 is American Teen by Khalid. It was released on March 3rd, and I've got to tell you, Khalid is probably one of my favorite artists out right now. He's on so many good songs. As I mentioned previously, he was on the Logic Suicide Hotline song, and he's on a song that appears on an album later on this list. He's just everywhere right now, and I absolutely love it. I vibe to his music so well. It just speaks to me and makes me feel something, and that's always something really good to get out of music, is to feel it. One of my favorite songs on the album is Young, Dumb, and Broke, which was very popular on the radio this summer. My second favorite song on the album is called Coaster. While not super popular on the radio, absolutely dig it. It's something I play when I want to feel sad but controlled. It's a good song to drive at night too. Khalid is great. I'm excited to see what he does in the future. Coming in at number 4 is Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1 by Calvin Harris. It was released June 30th, and it has by far my favorite song from the entire summer. That song being Slide with the Migos. That was my favorite summer bop to listen to as I drove around. Calvin Harris is a very unique artist in that he is one of the artists that sort of his albums are comprised of vocals by other artists, but set to his music. I guess he'd be more considered a DJ or a producer, but regardless, he crafts music to fit his style and also fit the style of the people who feature on his songs very well. My second favorite song off this album is Rollin', featuring Khalid. As I said before, love Khalid. Overall, I'd say having the word funk in the title of his album is very accurate, and a very good job from Calvin Harris, somebody who before this year wasn't really that big of a fan, but starting to be now. Coming in at number 3 is Birdie by Slaughter Beach Dog. Released on October 27th, Slaughter Beach Dog is the brainchild of one Jake Ewald, who is one of the lead vocalists of my favorite band, Modern Baseball. Birdie is the second album he's released under the Slaughter Beach Dog moniker, the first being Welcome, that came out last year. I wasn't so much into Welcome last year, however, this year when he released Birdie, I was pleasantly surprised and got into the album very quickly. It's a very different pick from the rest of the music on this list, and that it's very much sort of indie music, and I really enjoy it. My favorite song on the album is called Pretty Okay. A fun tidbit about that song, the first time it was officially recorded was in an empty pool in Milwaukee at the Rave. Jake was on tour with Modern Baseball at the time, and he did an interview for this article, and at the Rave they just had this empty swimming pool where they got in and just jammed, and he played this song for the person writing the article. The reason this tidbit is cool is because I've known about this song for maybe 6 months at this point, and I was actually at that show where he recorded it, so just kind of a fun universal thing there. Alright, enough gushing about my personal experiences. Let's move on. Coming in at number 2 is Damn by Kendrick Lamar. I know. This had to be on my list somewhere. If you are a fan of rap music, odds are you were a fan of this album to some extent. I personally had never really cared about Kendrick Lamar before this year, but the moment this album came out and I listened to it and I experienced it, really, that's the only way I can say it, as I experienced this album. I both knew who Kendrick Lamar was and cared very deeply who Kendrick Lamar was. I think about all the music that came out this year, this by far had to be the number 1 album that I talked about with other people. When it dropped, it was a very big conversation topic at work. We were all discussing what parts of the album we'd gotten to yet, what our favorite songs were. My favorite songs on the album were probably, like, all of them. But if I had to narrow it down to 2, my top 2 songs on the album would have to be Element, and I also really enjoyed the song Pride. Overall, it was a classic album. I think it's gonna go down as one of the best rap albums ever. But what do I know? I'm not a music critic. I just like the things I like. And last but not least, the number 1 pick, my number 1 album of 2017, wasn't really announced as an album. For some reason, it was proposed as a playlist of sorts. Nevertheless, my favorite album of 2017 was More Life by Drake. Drake is hands down one of my favorite artists of all time. His album Views was on my list last year. It was a bit higher up on the list, but I still really enjoyed Views, so when More Life came out this year, so close to Views coming out last year, I thought, I don't know how well the quality of this is going to be given the short amount of time between albums. And I was blown away by the final product. The track list is... I actually don't know how many songs it is. It's 22 songs. The reason this was my number 1 album of the year was just simply because of the amount of songs on the album that I liked to the amount of there was on the track list. I liked so many of these songs. I went on a trip to Dallas, Texas earlier this year, and it was a 16-hour drive, and through that weekend of me streaming More Life on Spotify, Drake became my number 1 artist of last year. This album spawned one of my favorite songs of the year, which was Passion Fruit. I love anything Drake puts out that makes you want to just move around your shoulders while you're driving through town. You know it's good if you're going through the Burger King drive-thru to get yourself a 10-piece nugget and you can still feel like you're at the club. And my second favorite song on the album is Do Not Disturb, which is the ending track of the album. It is so good. It's just so good. It's very good. Overall, a real gold star album, and clearly my top pick for album of 2017. So that was my list. If you get a moment, go ahead and let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear what your favorite albums were. A lot of the beauty and fun of music is just the fact that it's just so individualistic. Music taste is so subjective, and it's really interesting to sit and compare and just really see who a person is based on the kind of music they like and experience and what kind of story they can tell through that music. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Again, let me know what your favorite albums were. Go ahead and tell me my picks were trash, that's fine. It'll only hurt my feelings a lot. I'm just kidding, I'm not that sensitive.